Welcome to this explainer. Look, we need to talk about the apps on your phone. We're going to dive deep into the dark psychology of the attention economy, unmasking the hidden architecture that is literally silently rewiring your brain through that glowing rectangle you hold every single day. So let me ask you something right off the bat. When you swipe down to refresh your feed, are you actually in control of that choice? Or are you just pulling a lever? The reality here is pretty chilling. These apps aren't just giving you content. They're running highly sophisticated behavioral conditioning protocols right under your nose, completely bypassing your conscious choice. You know those old psychology experiments from decades ago? The ones by B.F. Skinner where rats and pigeons would just peck at levers until they literally collapsed from exhaustion, all for a randomized reward? Well, fast forward to right now. That exact same operant conditioning is happening, but on an industrial global scale. You and billions of others are the new subjects in a massive digital maze. When you open an app, it kind of feels like a fair trade, right? A few minutes of your time for some quick entertainment. But it's not a fair trade. The house always wins. You're up against billions of dollars and absolute armies of behavioral scientists who are actively engineering the path of least resistance to be the path of addiction. They profit immensely every single time you lose track of time. Okay, let's move into section 1, the infinite scroll trap. So, the guy who actually invented the infinite scroll, Ozar Reskin, deeply regrets making it. He literally compared it to putting sugar in food, saying you don't need much for people to get hooked. Remember before 2006 when websites actually had a bottom? You had to click next page. That click was a natural stop cue for your brain. By erasing those breaks, the infinite scroll completely traps us in this seamless, frictionless loop. It's wild because these apps use the exact same environmental techniques as Las Vegas casinos to override your self-regulation. Think about a casino for a second. There are no clocks, right? No windows. Now look at your feed. There are no natural endpoints. Both systems rely heavily on hyper-personalization and variable rewards to induce a literal trance-like state, entirely dissolving your awareness of time. Which brings us to section 2, the neuroscience of addiction. The core weapon they are deploying against you is a psychological concept called intermittent reinforcement. When you refresh that feed, sometimes you get a massive laugh, sometimes an interesting headline, and sometimes absolutely nothing. It is the sheer unpredictability of getting a reward that keeps your brain locked in. That exact unpredictability generates the highest possible rates of behavioral engagement. We can actually map out the biological heist taking place in your head. See, an unexpected like or a viral video creates what neuroscientists call a reward prediction error, which triggers a massive surge of dopamine. And here's the kicker. This doesn't just make you feel good for a second, it forces a compulsive behavioral outcome. Your brain learns a very simple, very dangerous pattern. I'm bored, I swipe. Boom, maybe a reward. Now, dopamine gets a bad rap as just being a pleasure chemical, but it's actually about motivation. It's the chemical of seeking. You aren't scrolling because you found something amazing. You're caught in an anticipation loop. You're scrolling because you might find something next. Because the feed literally never ends, the loop never resolves, leaving your nervous system hijacked in this state of constant alert expectancy. Let's look at section 3, hijacking human evolution. For the vast majority of human history, your brain was evolutionarily hardwired to constantly seek out novelty, just to survive in the wild. Spotting a new sound or a new food source literally kept you alive. But today, that ancient primal instinct is being mercilessly hijacked by apps dangling endless microbursts of digital content. What used to be a life-saving survival mechanism is now a massive vulnerability used to keep you tethered to a screen. Moving to section 4, inside surveillance capitalism. The mastermind behind all this is something Harvard scholar Shoshana Zuboff calls an epistemic coup. It's basically a hostile takeover of knowledge itself. Tech giants claim this unprecedented, unchecked power over human behavior, using your personal data to decide exactly what you see, what you think, and ultimately how you feel. They've silently claimed the authority to govern our reality, and spoiler alert, we never voted for them. To maintain this grip, they use a highly tuned arsenal of psychological manipulation, Snapchat streaks that literally gamify your friendships, manufactured urgency using bright red push notifications, and those 3 little typing dots that freeze you to your screen waiting for a reply. Yeah, those aren't just cute design choices. They are calculated extraction tools built from the ground up to monetize your attention. And that brings us to section 5, the toll on your mind. What is the actual cost of this daily psychological assault? Well, the data is absolutely staggering. A Monash University study using the Iowa gambling task revealed something terrifying. Excessive social media users display the exact same severe decision-making impairments as individuals addicted to opioids or alcohol. Let that sink in. The behavioral damage is virtually indistinguishable. And beyond making poor decisions, the physical toll on your body is massive. We're talking about literal gray matter reduction in your prefrontal cortex. That's the part of your brain that controls impulses. Add to that chronically elevated cortisol, totally disrupted REM sleep, and anxiety so profound that your brain starts hallucinating phantom vibrations from a phone that hasn't even buzzed. It's crazy. Finally, Section 6, breaking the algorithmic loop. But listen, we are not powerless here. Behavioral science actually hands us the escape plan. We have to shift away from the platform's unpredictable ratio schedule, that chaotic slot machine casino model that forces you to compulsively check your phone. Instead, you need to enforce your own strict interval schedule. Checking your apps only at set predictable times strips the unpredictable power right out of the algorithm's hands. The whole secret is putting friction back into your life. Step 1, kill the push notifications. Those little red dots are bait, they are not reminders. Step 2, enforce rigid time limits so you can rebuild the natural stop cues that the infinite scroll stole from you. And step 3, never ever scroll without a specific intention. Catch yourself and ask, why am I actually opening this app right now? And on a bigger societal scam, researchers and lawmakers are now fighting for a concept called authenticity by design. This is a push to legally ban manipulative dark patterns entirely. Think about it as a movement to protect your mental integrity and your cognitive autonomy as absolute, fundamental human rights in the digital age. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one seriously chilling thought. The very next time you pull your phone out of your pocket and stare into that glowing screen, just ask yourself, are you actually choosing to scroll right now? Or is the algorithm choosing for you? Take back your friction, take back your time. I'll catch you in the next explainer.